Hey everybody, it's Thursday. We're a day late, but it's time for another Bible story time. And this week we're reading a version of the story that we heard in worship on Sunday. This version is actually based on the telling of this story in John's Gospel, but all four of the Gospel writers have this story, and it's not all that different from Matthew's. So we're going to go ahead and read this. Again, we're reading from the Spark Story Bible with permission of Sparkhouse and 1517 Media, and this is Jesus Feeds 5,000. It was a beautiful sunny day as Jesus and his disciples crossed the Sea of Galilee in a boat with white sails. Jesus had been healing sick people, and many more people of all ages came to see him again that day. Maybe they could hear more of Jesus' stories or see him show God's power through another miracle. When Jesus saw the large crowd of men, women, and children, he asked his friend Philip, "How are we going to get enough food to feed all of these people?" Philip answered, "I could work for 6 months and not earn enough money to buy food for all of these men, women, and children." The disciples didn't know what to do. Just then Andrew pointed to a young child and said, "Here is a boy who has 5 small loaves of bread and 2 fish. It is something, but it certainly isn't enough food for all of these people." The boy looked very nervous as he said in a small voice, "Jesus, please take my food if you think it will help." Jesus took the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish that the boy offered and asked his friends to have the crowd sit down. About 5,000 people sat in the grassy meadow by the lake that day. After Jesus gave thanks to God, he blessed the 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. Then he shared the food with all of the people who were there that day. All 5,000 people ate until they were full. Then Jesus said, "Now let's gather up all of the leftovers." And do you know what? There were enough leftover pieces of bread to fill 12 large baskets, more loaves and fishes left over than the boy had given to Jesus. The disciples shook their heads in disbelief as they struggled to pick up the baskets, heavy with food. The people saw the full baskets of leftovers and began to understand that something extraordinary had just happened. Another miracle. Jesus smiled as he heard people say, "God must have sent Jesus to us." It was a day the boy, the disciples, and all of the people would never forget. The question with today's story is, if you were the boy who gave Jesus his food that day, what would you tell people about what happened? As I said in the children's sermon this past week, one of the great things about this story is that it shows us how God can take the little bits that we have and turn them into more than enough. So this week, as you're maybe getting ready to start school, I want you to think about some of the little things that you can do to help your family as you're getting ready, to help your friends as you get back into school with them. How can you help them to know that you care about them and that God cares about them, even if what you're doing seems really, really small? God can use you and the things that you do to make big things happen. I can't wait to see what you do. Take care, everyone. We'll see you again next week.